get out of the evacuation zones.
We anticipate a late tonight landfall of potential Category 4 hurricane.
And we're now talking about potential tornado touching down on both the west coast and the east coast of Florida.
Hide from the wind and run from the water. Possibility of a direct hit with 10 to 12-foot tidal surge.
And when we use the word unprecedented, up to 15 feet of surge.
Helene was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Minutes ago, Florida is faced with some of the biggest hurricanes in history. Hurricane Milton is rolling into western coast of Florida. And we're seeing people lined up trying to escape, evacuate. The warnings have gone out. We're seeing a lot of people panicking, trying to get gas at the fuel stations, and the fuel stations are run out.
Right now, if you drive from different areas, like during the course of the day, it was like difficult because when you drive by, people don't have no gas. If you in evacuation zone A and B, definitely I would evacuate.
A lot of the gas stations are limiting, rationing fuel, and a lot of people just can't get enough fuel to get outside of harm's way.
This is what folks in areas there along the Gulf near Fort Myers are dealing with. You're seeing those long lines at the gas stations, and look at the shelves inside this Walmart just clearing out as folks have been stocking up on those essentials now.
And while we've heard a lot of warnings from Hurricane Milton going north, going south, the latest is Hurricane Milton looks to be targeting just south of Tampa, but it continues to bob and weave, go up, go down, and it's not 100% clear, but it is rolling in to the west coast of Florida. And again, we hear experts saying, you've got to get out while you can. SUVs, we're seeing vehicles, we're seeing police all evacuating people with this mandatory evacuation order to get while the getting's good.
If they have called for your evacuation order, I beg you, I implore you to evacuate.
The last storm, we got flooded. So it's all about prepping this time.
Paper towel, water, and canned food boxes, everything. A lot of people, it's like going crazy buying stuff.
2 years after a storm, we're talking storms that can take out whole towns, actually move homes.
We need as much of this debris picked up as possible. This creates a safety hazard.
Category 4 storms is what they were absolutely seeing. Strong winds, strong rain, blustery conditions. People are struggling to get their cars fueled up to get out. But is fuel the absolute answer to this problem? There's Tesla owners or electric vehicles. 8 to 10% of the population now drives electric vehicles. Is that the solution? A lot of people believe that driving electric vehicles is the solution in conditions where you've got hurricane outages every single year. Hurricane Milton is another shining example of how people have to be prepared as these storms roll in the fall. Every single year this seems to hit, but this one seems to be hitting a lot closer to home. For a lot of people, highly populated areas like Tampa are another city impacted by an annual storm. There's even dire messages from the mayor to say, you've got to get out. Get out while you can. And now we're absolutely at the last minute. We're seeing conditions that are building to be absolutely catastrophic. And yet there's people that are resisting the urge to leave.
Wasn't told to evacuate, and I don't want to go in a situation and it's unpredictable, so you don't know where it's going. So we're deciding to just stick it out.
Lots of people are still trying to get out, while others just feel that they can't afford to get out because evacuation costs significant money.
We used to run the freeze and the refrigerator so our food won't get spoiled. I've been through it before. That's why you see it setting up like that.
It's not just filling your vehicle with gas, because clearly gas shortages are intact, but there's other conditions too. Of course, just a sheer volume. You've got semis trying to clear, you've got population, the entire population of Tampa area is trying to get inland and out of the way. The worst part is we also have relatives who live in Florida area, and they're also extremely concerned. They've got a small young family, husband, wife, and a young child. They're trying to make the best of this. So our relatives are seeing the writing on the wall and are trying to clear these area. A lot of problems, a lot of people are panicking. Semis driving up on the shoulders. We're seeing cars filling the freeways, and even exotic car owners and high-end premium car owners are trying to hide their cars, trying to give them high ground, trying to put them in underground parkades, trying to get them in their garages on lifts and get them as high as physically possible. But we also know from history, we've seen when these storms hit, sometimes these stormwater levels are up and above roof levels. And so no amount of wrapping in plastic or no amount of lifting it up off of the ground by 2 feet is going to help a lot of these cars. And especially a lot of these underground parkades where a lot of these vehicles are typically sitting lower, or even if they're up 10, 15 feet, there's a high probability and a high risk that surge waters come in could potentially risk damaging these expensive vehicles. Problem is there's always fallout as a result of a lot of these hurricanes. It's not just cars leaving and people leaving and panicking and chaos and collisions and fuel shortages. It's a lot of other conditions. Now you're going to have vehicles that are damaged, houses that are damaged, billions, potentially trillions of dollars of damage as a result of a lot of these big storms, where you're going to see months and almost years of cleanup to follow a lot of these big hurricanes. You're going to have a lot of conditions, power outages, surges, blackouts, brownouts, electric cars won't run, gas cars won't run, and that's why a lot of these officials are saying get out while you can, because there's no guarantees for power and there's no guarantees for gas if you need to get your car further out of harm's way. Further fallout is once this storm clears and all the cleanup pursues, then you also have situations with lots and lots of plenty of vehicles hitting the market, flood vehicles, damaged vehicles, get polished, cleaned, sent back to market, into the auction, and unfortunately there's going to be a barrage of owners buying cars that potentially are flooded, and this is going to be a newfound issue in some of these car markets. This is going to have a big impact on a used car that you might be shopping for in 6 months, a year from now down the road. You're going to be finding more and more of these cars, and savvy buyers will know what to look for, but unfortunately this is going to catch a lot of people off guard buying used cars that have been underwater. So there's two ways to look at this. The storm hits your area but you evacuated, at least you know that you've got the peace of mind that you were not in the eye of the storm. The other flip side is you evacuate, you come home, and the storm wobbled and moved the other way and didn't take out your home. At least, again, you can thank the gods above that your vehicle and your home were not impacted.
Write your name and next of kin on your arm so that we know to whom we should deliver you when you die. That's the kind of language being used in Florida this morning.
Either way, evacuating, other than the sheer cost, a lot of people are recognizing it's a mandatory, it's a must-do. A few assets can be replaced, lives cannot. And a lot of people are realizing that lives are much more important than a house and a car, and they're just leaving, grabbing their belongings, grabbing their loved ones, and getting out while the getting's good. But we know the message is there every single year, and a lot of these natural disasters hit Florida, hit a lot of the coastal areas every single year. And it's just a stark message and a reminder that we should always be prepared, have our vehicles prepared, have a little extra food storage, have a little extra fuel storage, have those extra blankets and those extra bags for ready to go for when storm season hits. This is a clear indication that this is not new, this is old issues, and we are seeing it once again with Hurricane Milton. And as we roll into dinner time, Florida, October 9th here, 2024, we are watching Hurricane Milton unleash all of its fury as a Category 4, rolling, bobbing and weaving, trying to dodge towards Tampa and the west coast of Florida in the Gulf. And sadly, this will be a stark reminder how strong Mother Nature is, and hopefully that everybody gets out of harm's way, and this only becomes a story for generations after.